My husband, David Carter, and his mistress, Sophia Bennett, went up to the mountains in the middle of the night. Unexpectedly, he slipped and fell off a cliff. By the time I arrived, he was unconscious and being rushed into the emergency room. The doctor asked me if I wanted to save him. Tears streaming down my face, I screamed, "Even if it bankrupts me, I have to save him." Meanwhile, Sophia, holding a child in a will, showed up at the hospital to fight me for his assets. According to the law, an illegitimate child has inheritance rights. She waived the will, claiming it stated that 90% of David's estate would go to her son, and I'd have to pay monthly child support. Pointing at the man lying motionless on the hospital bed, I said, "If it's a will, wait until my husband is dead before bringing it up." I got a call informing me that David was in critical condition. I was already investigating and cataloging all of his assets, calculating how much I could claim after his infidelity and our inevitable divorce. David was a high-level executive at a major corporation with assets worth tens of millions. When I found out about his affair, I was secretly thrilled. When the hospital called, I was so ecstatic I could have flown. I thought, the fortune is practically mine. But then Sophia showed up, clutching a child who looked exactly like David, holding a will and blocking me at the entrance to the ER. "Your husband left a will," she said. "All his money goes to my son." I glanced at the child in her arms, undeniably David's spitting image. Rushing to the operating room, I wailed like a madwoman, "David, I'm here. You have to survive." The doctor hurried out to consult me. "Your family, right? The patient has severe brain damage. Even if we save him, he might be bedridden for life. The costs for treatment and long-term care will be astronomical. We need your decision." Without hesitation, I grabbed the pen and paper from the doctor's hand. "Please, you have to save my husband. I'll spend everything I have." The doctor tried to say something else, but I signed the form decisively, declaring loudly, "No matter the cost, save him. I'll care for him my whole life." The doctor moved, nodded, and rushed back into the ER. Sophia, holding her child, stood beside me and smirked. "I didn't expect you to love David so much. Too bad he loves me." I shot her a glance, ignoring her, and kept my eyes fixed on the closed ER doors. Thankfully, David was saved, but he was paralyzed from the waist down. Except for his eyes, he couldn't move a muscle. He'd need lifelong care. Seeing his condition, Sophia tried to negotiate. "David and I are true love. We have a child together. How about this? Give me $2 million and I'll disappear, pretending the will doesn't exist." I laughed scornfully. "Your so-called true love has nothing to do with me. I'm his legal wife of 10 years. You're just a side piece, not even worth 2 cents. Sophia threw the will onto David's hospital bed, sneering. "Here's David's will. It clearly states 90% of his estate goes to my son. I'm only asking for $2 million and you won't give it? Don't regret it when he's gone." I glanced at her again, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "True love, huh? Wishing he'd die sooner so you can cash in? If it's a will, wait until it takes effect." The next day I went to the attending doctor, tears in my eyes. "I want to take David home. The medical bills are too much and I can't afford rehabilitation. I'll work with him at home." The doctor, moved, said, "Mrs. Carter, don't give up. The hospital has a fund for families in need. Seeing how much you love your husband, fill out these forms and I'll help you apply." I hugged the doctor, sobbing. Even with the fund, we'd still have to pay some costs. We're already in debt, and David's mother is out collecting recyclables to make ends meet. I can't bear it. Please, save the fund for those who need it more. Don't worry, I'll care for David at home. The doctor, seeing my resolve, didn't push further and slipped me a sandwich before I left. As I processed David's discharge, I sent a lengthy anonymous thank you letter to the doctor's department, donating $10,000 to the hospital's fund under the name Man in Black. Leaving the hospital, I took David to a small rehabilitation center I'd carefully chosen. Its only advantage? He wouldn't die there. I pulled my usual trick, tears welling up as I clutched the doctor's hand. We have no money, but I want the best treatment possible for my husband. Please keep him alive. I'll work to pay for better therapy later. The doctor stepped back, visibly uncomfortable. We'll do our best, he said, then had a nurse arrange a cramped, dirty 3-person room for David. I peeked through the window. Perfect. The room was crowded, filthy, and the nurses barked like drill sergeants, exactly the environment David deserved. With his care sorted, I moved on to securing my share of the assets. I'd already investigated all of David's holdings, real estate, investments, everything. I'd memorized his passwords. The first thing I did at home was access his phone, log into his brokerage accounts, and transfer $3 to $4 million in batches to his bank card. Then I took that card and traveled the world, swiping it for limited edition designer goods. I gleefully bought dozens of exclusive handbags, each worth hundreds of thousands. While swiping the card in Dubai for my final bag, my mother-in-law Margaret called. She and David were never close. He was too busy for her, so she hadn't suspected anything. It wasn't until 2 weeks later, today, that she learned of his accident. Her timing was impeccable. I'd already handled the liquid assets. Now it was time for the real estate. I flew back to the States, removed my makeup, and waited at home for Margaret. Sure enough, she arrived in tears, clinging to me and sobbing uncontrollably. Truthfully, David was capable but inherited plenty of flaws from his parents: selfishness, infidelity. I always thought his behavior was genetic. Margaret herself had been a victim of infidelity years ago, divorcing decisively to become an independent woman. Yet when it came to her son's affair, she'd say things like, "A man needs multiple wives to carry on the family line. Cheating proves he's desirable." She even taught David to hit me if I didn't obey. Swallowing my disgust, I handed her a tissue. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry. I found the best rehab center for David. He'll recover." She stopped crying instantly. "Where's my son? Where is he?" I forced a smile. "Like I said, he's at a rehab center. Rest today and I'll take you to visit him another day." "No!" she screamed, lunging at me, pounding my chest like a lunatic. "I need to see my son now." I sighed, exasperated, and reluctantly took her to see David. As we entered the cramped 3-person room, Margaret's rage erupted. She turned and started hitting me. "This is what you call the best rehab center? This dump? A shared room? Pay for a better one now." I put on a wronged expression. "I don't know where his money is. Maybe he gave it all to his mistresses. The last emergency cost me millions I had to borrow. And this accident happened because he was fooling around with another woman in the mountains and fell." Margaret's eyes widened, her face shifting through emotions. "It's your fault. If you'd kept him in check, he wouldn't have gone to the mountains. This is all your fault. Give me back my son. I want the best room, the most expensive one. Pay for it now." I rolled my eyes, too tired to argue. A nurse, hearing the commotion, stormed in. "What's all this noise? Take your fighting outside." Margaret grabbed the nurse's arm. "Save my son. When will he recover? Get him the best room." I made a twirling gesture by my head, signaling Margaret wasn't right in the mind. The nurse understood, brushed her off, and escorted her out of the room. "Ma'am, the doctor said family provides the best care. Why don't you take David home and look after him?" Margaret froze, then snapped back, pointing at me. "I'm old. You expect me to care for him? You're his wife. Don't be lazy and leave him here. Care for him yourself." I agreed instantly, surprising her. Her face filled with suspicion. I called the management of our upscale condo, arranging for a car and staff to bring David home. Margaret, thinking I was up to something, watched me like a hawk. But she didn't expect me to be so attentive and thorough. The condo manager, witnessing my care, was moved. "I can't believe how much you love David, even after he's paralyzed. You're truly admirable." I bowed my head modestly. "We're husband and wife. In tough times, I have to stand by him." The young staff member looked at me with awe. When Margaret saw I'd actually brought David home, she sneered, "Care for my son properly. If he loses a single hair, I'll report you for attempted murder." Ignoring her threats, I tucked David in. "Mom, I'm taking care of David. Could you cook us dinner?" At the mention of cooking, Margaret grabbed her purse and bolted, afraid of being roped into work. Looking at David, eyes closed and still, I couldn't help but chuckle. "That's your mother, selfish and irresponsible, just like you. But thanks to her selfishness, my job's easier." A week later, I visited the condo manager with an envelope of cash. Smiling brightly, she pulled me to sit down. I slipped the envelope into her bag, my voice trembling. "You've heard about David. The doctor says there's hope if he gets proper rehab. I'm planning to take him abroad for treatment and want to sell our condo. But it's in his name, so I need court approval. Can you help with the paperwork?" Without hesitation, she printed and signed the forms, even going to the local office to get additional certifications. With medical records, hospital confirmations, and proof I was David's primary caregiver, the court approved quickly. The real estate agent was even faster. Within a month, the upscale downtown condo and suburban mansion were sold, netting me $7 to $8 million, all transferred to my account. But before I could celebrate, Margaret, David's brother, Michael, and a group of burly men showed up at my door. Margaret blocked the entrance, screaming, "You sold the house? It's in his name. How dare you?" I squeezed out a few tears, sobbing. "I sold it to pay for David's treatment. I want to take him abroad. Without selling, where would the money come from?" Margaret glared suspiciously, ranting, "I don't believe you. You're hoping he dies so you can take everything." Michael snorted. "That's my brother. We don't need you to save him. Hand over the money from the house. We'll handle it." I looked skyward. "When he needed care and money, where were you? Now that there's cash, you show up? If I give you the money and you abandon his treatment, who's responsible?" Margaret, furious, lunged to hit me. I stepped back, pretending to recall something. "Oh, I forgot. David has another house. The money from the condo sale? Already sent to an overseas hospital. Here's the receipt. If you want, sell that other house." I handed Michael a paper. He scrutinized it, written in English, as I expected, unreadable to them. I shifted topics. "David bought a mansion worth $500,000, $600,000. Sophia's living there now. It was purchased during our marriage, so she has no right to it. If you reclaim it, it's yours." Michael's eyes lit up. "Really? Why would I lie? Your mom's met Sophia. Go to this address and see for yourself. I'm not going anywhere. If I'm wrong, do whatever you want to me." Michael sized me up, and Margaret nudged him. "Your brother's not dead yet." Michael scoffed. "He's as good as dead. What's the difference?" His efficiency was unmatched. That same day, he confronted Sophia at the mansion. "You're Sophia? Pack your stuff and get out. This is my brother's house, and we're taking it back." Sophia, having heard from David that Michael was a deadbeat, sneered, "Who are you? David bought this for me. It's none of your business, you lowlife. Get out!" Enraged, Michael grabbed her hair and slapped her twice. "You dare insult me? You're nothing. My brother's real wife is at home." Sophia bit his shoulder. "You can't take this house. David left a will. When he dies, the house and money go to my son." Michael froze. "A will? For your son?" "Yeah," she taunted. "Your brother left nothing for you. His wife can't have kids, so I carried on your family line. You should thank me." Known for his temper, Michael was speechless for the first time. Furious, he yanked her hair, dragging her into the street. "Everyone, look! Film this! This is the homewrecker." Passers-by whipped out their phones, recording the spectacle. Sophia tried to flee, but Michael tore her white dress, exposing her in public. "Running? Scared people will know you're a mistress?" Her name now public, Sophia fought back, biting his arm. Michael, in pain, shoved her down and kept hitting her. The crowd filmed, whispering, "I thought she was a struggling single mom. Turns out she's a mistress. Looks so proper, but is trash." Watching the video my friend sent from the scene, I laughed uncontrollably. Sophia's nanny, worried, brought the child to check on her. The boy was David's spitting image. Michael recognized him instantly, snatching the child and holding him aloft. "You say my brother left everything to your son? What if this kid dies?" Sophia, frantic, begged, "Please, give me my son." Michael smirked, raising the child higher. The boy's cries echoed, drawing a larger crowd. Margaret, in the crowd, panicked and tugged Michael's shirt. "Stop! That's your nephew! People are watching!" Michael shook her off. 3 days. If you don't leave, I'll deal with your kid. Let's see how he inherits anything if he's dead." He made a motion to toss the child. Sophia, frozen, failed to catch him as he fell, crying in pain. Michael dusted his hands. "You didn't catch him. Not my fault." He slipped into the crowd and vanished. I closed the video, lounging on the sofa, muttering, "Dog eat dog, what a show." Sophia's son hit his head and needed surgery. Margaret, busy with her grandson, had no time for me. Taking advantage of the chaos, I set up an international trading company and hired a professional accounting firm to handle finances. Just as things were going smoothly, David's company called, demanding I return $80,000 they'd provided as humanitarian aid after his accident. Confused, I went to the company. There, Margaret, Sophia, and the child were holding signs, crying and shouting for compensation. Security couldn't handle an old woman, a mother, and a child, only blocking their entry. David, a prominent executive, was now infamous for his affair, an illegitimate child. Sophia wailed, "My husband devoted years to this company. Now his son needs money for surgery. How can you capitalists be so heartless?" Margaret joined in. "My son got sick working for you. He's a vegetable now. I demand compensation." The company's PR manager offered water and invited them inside, but they ignored him, crying to the crowd's phone cameras. They knew a big company fears bad press that could tank stock prices. Playing the victim card, they aimed to sway public opinion. I stepped forward, grabbed a megaphone, and pointed at Sophia. "Who's this woman yelling and pretending to be me? I'm David's legal wife. Who are you?" Sophia glared at me with hatred. I slapped her twice before she could react. "Begging for your son's surgery isn't shameful, but don't impersonate me." This company was generous to David. He got hurt fooling around with a mistress, yet they still gave humanitarian aid. Sophia jumped up, shoving her child into Margaret's arms, shouting, "What? The company gave you money? Hand it over. That's for my son's surgery." I feigned shock, speaking into the megaphone. "What? Your son is David's? You're his mistress and had his child?" Sophia gritted her teeth. "We're true love. I thought he was divorced." I raised the megaphone, playing a recording from David's phone. "You better behave. In bed, I love her, not you. You're nothing. Divorce her. I'm the mistress, so what? Got the guts to hit me? I'm with your husband right now. Want a video?" The crowd, filming, gasped in shock. The PR manager looked at me with admiration. "Sophia, is that you?" Sophia's face paled. I smiled, turning to the PR manager. "The child's innocent. I'll start a fundraiser." I tossed a crumpled $1 bill at Sophia's feet, then smiled politely at the manager. "Director Thompson, I hope the company can also call for donations to help this case." Thompson nodded, understanding, and contacted the media to manage the narrative. Margaret handed the child to a passerby and blocked me, yelling, 10 years and you couldn't give me a grandchild. Now you cling to my son's money? Divorce him and return everything. I smiled courteously. Sure, Mom. Sue me. I'll pay whatever the court orders. She screamed, Give me the $80,000 the company gave you. Tears welling, I looked at her, voice trembling. Since David's been bedridden, I've cared for him day and night. You visited once just to demand money. It's not that I won't give it to you, but David needs so much for rehab. I can't afford it. Margaret, enraged, lunged and pulled my hair. I ran, shouting, Help! She's trying to kill me! The crowd called the police. As officers arrived, Margaret clutched her chest and collapsed. I hid a smirk, telling the police softly that I'd been attacked but wouldn't press charges. The PR manager and bystanders vouched for me. Perfect. Everything was recorded and posted online. Public opinion turned against Sophia, with netizens cursing her relentlessly. But she was resilient, contacting the media for an interview, playing the pitiful single mom to gain sympathy. She begged for her innocent child, showed David's will to prove he chose her, and hired marketing accounts to sway public opinion. I thought only a few would buy it, but donations reached $50,000. Annoyed, I exposed her, private mansion, nanny, designer bags. Her poor single mom image crumbled. Suspected of fraudulent fundraising, the platform refunded all donors. Seizing the moment, I hired a renowned divorce lawyer and sued Sophia to reclaim the mansion and money David gave her during our marriage. As his legal guardian, I had all his transaction records and phone bills. Sophia, receiving the lawsuit, countersued, demanding child support and living expenses. The property dispute was heard first. I attended with my lawyer, while Sophia brought a small army, Margaret, Michael, and relatives, filling a row. They'd clearly been bought by her. Sophia smirked at me, her eyes saying, You're done. Your Honor, she said. David was single when we were together. These people, his family, and my colleagues, can testify. Margaret chimed in. My son lied to this poor girl. He's no good, but we don't need that house. Michael added, My brother deceived her. She's just a young girl, naive. It's his fault. Their family was laughable, smearing their own to side with Sophia. My lawyer countered, Even if the defendant believed David was single, the transferred assets are marital property. My client has every right to reclaim them. Sophia interjected weakly, He forced me. I only dated him because he compensated me with the house. My lawyer asked, Do you have proof? Her eyes darted. I smiled, showing the judge a video from David's phone. In it, Sophia whined about being a mistress and demanded a house. David said, If she gives me a son, I'll buy her one. Sophia thought she had his heart, not realizing he was cunning, recording everything. Stunned, her face drained of color. The house is settled, I said. Now the money, $478,000 transferred during our marriage. Sophia sneered. I never got a dime from David. Not directly, I replied. It went through his assistant. Her eyes widened. The assistant, waiting as a witness, stood. I handled all transfers to Ms. Bennett. I have bank statements and documents. Our evidence was airtight. As expected, I won. The judge ruled the house and $478,000 were illegally transferred and must be returned. Sophia collapsed, pale as death. I'd frozen her assets before the lawsuit. After winning, the money hit my account. The house remained, but her account had just over $100,000. No matter, she'd be labeled a deadbeat debtor on the court's public portal for life. Sophia's and Margaret's lawsuits against me were heard the same day. That morning, Sophia brought stacks of expense reports and future cost projections, demanding $500,000 in child support, waiving David's will. Smirking triumphantly, she thought she'd won. Her lawyer read the $500,000 demand. I nodded, agreeing, but added, I need proof David is the father. Sophia stood, shouting, It's obviously his son. He's identical. What proof? The judge banged the gavel, ordering calm. My request was reasonable. The court approved a DNA test. With David under my care, testing wasn't easy. I was stalling. Sophia, furious, yelled, Everyone can see it's his son. You're just making trouble. I won't do a test, and I have his will. The money's mine. Her reaction was odd. Why so panicked about a DNA test? Could the child not be David's? Impossible. He looked identical. I squinted, studying her. No DNA test. No payments. As for inheritance, David's alive. Who said you can claim his estate? Sophia paled, adamantly refusing the test. The judge declared, The plaintiff's request is valid. The case is postponed until DNA results are provided. Sophia slumped, drained. That afternoon, my case with Margaret was heard. Since David was alive and ill, the court ordered me to pay her $50 monthly for care. Furious, Margaret screamed, collapsed, and was carried out. I left quickly, avoiding her drama. I kept thinking about Sophia's child. David and I were married 10 years, never trying for kids but never preventing them, yet I never conceived. Sophia got pregnant so quickly. I'd never considered I might have issues, but now I wondered if I should get checked. Meanwhile, David's company reported his funds were being transferred to my international company's overseas account. In 2 weeks, it'd be complete. Everything was going smoothly until David suddenly woke up. The housekeeper called, and my heart skipped, but I calmed myself, instructing her to call 911. I rushed to the hospital, breathless. Doctor, how's he talking again? The doctor sighed, patting my shoulder. It's a final rally. He won't last long. Say your goodbyes. I smirked inwardly. I knew a scum like him wouldn't last, but before I could savor it, Margaret and Michael arrived, having heard the news. I ran to David's room, smiling brightly at his frail form. You're dying, so let me tell you, that child you adore? Not yours. It's your brother's. 10 years, countless women, and no kids. Yet Sophia got pregnant so fast? David's eyes widened, trying to speak. Just then, Margaret and Michael entered. I threw myself onto David, crying, Honey, you're awake. I've suffered waiting for you. I shook his shirt, wailing. David tried pushing me off, but seeing his family, he tried to sit up, furious. I pinned him down, sobbing, I know you want to say you love me. I love you too. Margaret tried pulling me off, but I was too strong. I kept David pinned, shouting, We vowed to grow old together. Get better, please. Michael, annoyed by my cries, yanked me off and told David, You left everything to your son, right? Rest easy. I'll take care of your wife. Oh, he spilled it himself. Margaret, enraged, hit Michael. He's dying and you say that? Have you no heart? David's face reddened with fury. I called prearranged security to remove them. Leaning close, I whispered, David, your time's short. Change the will, or it'll go to those ungrateful leeches. His trembling hand pointed at me, eyes blazing. I smiled. Sign the will I prepared. You'll be pleased. I called in the lawyer waiting outside. Sophia arrived, calling weakly, David, I'm here. I let her in. She rushed to his bedside, crying, You've been gone, and we've been bullied. Can we change the will? Just 10% for me and our son? I laughed, nudging her. As you wished, the will's changed. You get nothing. Sophia stared at me, then the lawyer, then David, who looked away. No way. He doesn't love you. How could he leave it all to you? She was right. David wouldn't. But she didn't know I'd planned ahead. She lunged at me. I kicked her down, stepping on her. Stop playing the innocent saint. You know whose child that is. Smart, sleeping with his brother to ensure a look-alike. You acted in love for my cameras, but you didn't fool me. She struggled. I pressed harder, releasing her only when my foot tired. She lunged at David, grabbing his collar, screaming, "You toyed with me for a year. You're infertile and you gave me nothing. Die." Alarmed, I called for the doctor, but before anyone arrived, Sophia punched and screamed. Within a minute, David stopped breathing. I arranged a simple funeral, choosing a cheap urn to end our 10-year marriage. The day he died, Margaret sued for inheritance, demanding a third each for me, her, and Michael. I smiled, presenting David's final will. He'd donated everything. Margaret, Michael, and Sophia, sitting as plaintiffs, were stunned. Before their shocked eyes, I calmly handed the will and a detailed list of $10 million in donations to the judge. Sophia stormed up, furious. "No way, there's only $10 million. You hid the money. Hand it over or I'll make your life hell." I smiled lightly, addressing the judge. "I've submitted all evidence. As for her accusations, the law requires proof, right?" The judge nodded, demanding Sophia provide evidence. She had none. All marital assets were legally transferred. They got nothing. I was thrilled. Everything was settled. I paid a storage fee for David's urn, knowing it'd be destroyed if overdue. I kept a small apartment for my handbag collection, looked at my bank balance, and read travel reviews, grinning ear to ear. My dream of traveling the world before 35 was finally within reach.